Let's begin by introducing you as founder and CEO of BattleBank, and also, of course, as executive sponsor of the Silver Bootcamp. Thank you for being with us.
Well, thanks so much, Rick. We're really excited for the Silver Bootcamp, and we're absolutely excited to be involved with the whole project.
I think this interview necessarily begins with a brief description of the concept and the success that you had with EverBank. One of the things that brought us together, and of course have brought so many people together around BattleBank, was the success you had with EverBank. So talk about something about the hole you saw in the market when you started EverBank and the process by which you built it and succeeded.
You know, it was interesting. In 1997 and 1998, we started looking out at the marketplace. And of course, at that time, technology was good, but it was not highly distributed. And we felt that there would be an opportunity to come in with a national direct-to-consumer institution that really answered a lot of the questions people were asking. At the time, rates were fairly high, and banks were paying very little. At the time, service levels at banks, lines out the door, teller windows that you couldn't get to. And of course, the fee structure was remarkable at many of the branch banks, which you have to do if you have to pay for all that real estate. And we felt we could come into the market, develop something that would, pay the client a fair rate of interest, low fees, and also allow, global diversification, precious metals, foreign currency deposits, and so on. And it's interesting, when we launched to the public, people may remember the week that AOL was purchased by Time Warner was the same week we launched. And our initial checking account rate back there in 2000, January, was 6.01%. I think the big box banks at that time were paying zero. Not surprisingly, they're still pretty much paying zero. And from that point forward, we began to develop the business, had many wonderful clients across the country, got together with other partners in Jacksonville, Florida, really formed ultimately became the full EverBank, with a huge mortgage operation, business property lending, small ticket leasing, as well as a developed client base in all sorts of different markets. In the mid 2000s, we went public on the New York Stock Exchange, which was a fun opportunity to go up and see the empty floor close up. A lot of electronics, a couple of TV setups, but not many people anymore. And then in 2017, of course, the institution was sold to TIAA at about $28 billion in total assets. We felt we ran a great operation. It was profitable. It was solid, very highly attended to capital. We did not take TARP in that 2008 to 2010 period. In fact, we were able to purchase a failed bank out of Florida, the Bank of Florida, and acquire those assets, work those through, collect them. And our teams, as opposed to what you may have seen in The Big Short, the movie, our guys were actually going out to those subdivisions and seeing if the pool was empty and the HOA building was full. So I think overall, EverBank, we felt, was a great success, had some wonderful partners, and we're able to develop a large institution, and hopefully we'll be able to build on that with BattleBank.
So fast forward to today. Perhaps you could take our listeners through some of the key attributes of the bank. I'm thinking in particular, no branches, and what that actually does for the consumer, as well as what it does for your non-interest expense and the expense that you can pay on deposits.
Absolutely. And, so shifting to BattleBank, a number of the team members from EverBank are coming back to participate in this, but we feel strongly that in 2023, there's no reason to have a bank branch. Bank branches cost money, and it really forces many of these big box banks to have high fee products to support that. We feel that by reducing that non-interest expense, really centralizing operations, centralizing technology, and really building a wonderful experience for customers, that we can reduce that non-interest expense and pay that back to clients. In 2000, I mentioned the big box banks weren't paying anything. They're charging high fees. And you know what? They are today. There have been multiple Wall Street Journal articles in the last month mentioning that They're not paying interest again, I think to the tune of $180 billion a year that they're not giving back to consumers. Battle Bank will be giving that back to consumers. Low fees, high rates, full online access, and at the same time, we're going to have superlative on the phone customer service. So if you have an issue, we'll have experienced bankers there to help you out, and we'll be doing that global diversification with gold, silver, other precious metals, as well as foreign currency deposits and market index CDs. So we think this ability to provide the value to clients is highly important by not having branches.
Let's go to the deposit. Let's go into the deposit product suite first of all. The idea of the simplified high yield account and then the specialty deposit products, I think, are what has always set your banks apart from the competition.
Yeah, well, the high yield cash account, why do you have to have multiple accounts, a checking account, a savings account, a little bucket to put for college and so on? Just have one single high value account. If you want to use it as a piggy bank, earn a high rate of interest, we think that's fabulous. If you want to write checks off that, you do online bill pay, that's fabulous too. Use that debit card. So there's no reason to complicate your life, which the big box banks, of course, do to subdivide you and pay you less. We also have other deposit products. If you want to have a deposit in euros and New Zealand dollars, Chinese renminbi, because you want to diversify your cash portfolio, we'll have that in our global markets group. So we have both money market deposit accounts in about 18 different currencies, as well as CDs, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, and so on. And they'll pay interest based on the interest rate available in that country. So if you see a higher yielding country, that might be something you consider. You might want to think about something that you just feel is going to be strong over the next few years.
And then, Frank, one of the things that really feels unique to me is the idea that you can take control over your own IRA. Tell us about the Checkbook IRAs.
If you go to one of the main broker dealers, a Schwab, a Fidelity, a Vanguard, you can buy mutual funds and stocks and bonds probably and put those in your IRA. But a lot of people want to do something else. They want to own income producing real estate properties. They may want to own private equity. They may want to do hard money loans. And we're going to be able to do that through a process that we call, or the market calls, a checkbook IRA. You can transfer your IRA into Battle Bank, form an LLC underneath that is 100% owned by the IRA. And then you can do all those different activities that are eligible for an IRA. Obviously, you're not going to do things that are ineligible, but this gives you the flexibility to buy that multifamily home. Perhaps Battle Bank might make a loan for you to support that. And you can do all those other things that are eligible in an IRA. And we're focused on flexibility and providing clients with the opportunity to do what they see as most important in their investment and their retirement portfolios.
And then, Frank, you and I have talked at some length about the holes in the market around lending products. If you could talk something about what the bank intends to do to fill those holes, who we plan to service in the lending business.
One of the big holes, as we've discussed many, many times, is the ability to borrow against your precious metals holding. It's really a bit of a shock and a delight in some instances that you can't. It's very difficult to borrow against your gold holdings, your silver holdings, or other precious metals. And we've developed an opportunity for people to come in and borrow against those holdings, more or less like a margin loan you might see at a broker dealer. We can advance that money to you. There's an interest payment, of course, and that's a fabulous way to if you need to put the deck on, you want to buy a piece of property, you want to do something else with those holdings, or you just buy more gold or silver. That's also a fabulous opportunity.
I suspect the precious metals lending, the idea that you can access liquidity on your gold and silver holdings will be something that the people at the Silver Investment Bootcamp will be particularly interested in. I think, too, that hard money people are more interested in sound banking than perhaps your broad audience. So I'm delighted that you're coming to the Silver Investors Bootcamp, and I look forward to your presentation about battling for better banking. Frank, thank you so much for having us on. Tell the people now how they can find out more about Battle Bank. Give them a link where they can go to and learn more.
Sounds great. And, it's really easy. Battlebank.com. Go right there on your web browser, your mobile browser, And we have a variety of things. Join the wait list. Apply to be a member of the team. Or just look at all the different products, services, and people that are involved in BattleBank. So battlebank.com. Pretty straightforward, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
I should mention that I'll be interviewing Frank at the Silver Investors Bootcamp. Frank will be on a panel with myself and Peter Schiff, which should be highly amusing about the banking system. Frank, of course, will have a booth, and he will be available to do one-on-one discussions with people who would like to know about the battle for better banking. Frank, as always, thank you for being with us.
Onward and upward, Rick. Looking forward to it.